Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be ranking every hauling ship, and just quickly before I say this, some of these ships aren't exactly like set cargo hauling ships, but people use them as cargo hauling ships. And I'm going to rank them based on what I think their capabilities are, whether I think they're good for cargo hauling, whether I think they're user friendly, and whether I think they're the beginner friendly as well. So yeah, let's hop into it. So some ground rules I would like to just quickly set is obviously S tier is like fantastic for one, it's player friendly. So like obviously anyone can use it, anyone can fly it. It's quite easy to get a hold of. And as well as that, it's quite cheap, and well, some of them can be quite cheap, but good for like early users. This is going to be like, as well as that, the in S tier it could be like how much money you could make from it, things like that. Whether it's a good cargo ship or whether it just has the capability there and people just use it. And then A tier is obviously going to be kind of similar, but it could be flawed in certain ways. Like there's too much interior around it, so you cannot fit a whole load of cargo or certain box sizes and things like that. B is then again same kind of thing, but like maybe it's the shape of the hangar, maybe there's things in the way, and then C is just it's kind of bad. Like it's not great. It's decent, but it's not fantastic. And again, the D tier is like it shouldn't really be used as a cargo ship. I mean, I don't think there's going to be many of them in this tier, but obviously we shall soon see and find out. Right, so let's have a look here. So first off, we have the Hull A. The Hull A has been around for quite a while, and if you didn't know, it is basically the very, very smallest hull-based ship from Misk. It's a lovely little ship. I've flown around in it when I've first been starting out with my starter ship. And when I bought it, I've been using it for cargo hauling. It is fairly decent for a starter kind of like entry level ship. Obviously there is some others that would be obviously probably in the same category as this. Money making wise, it's not really the best. It gets you started into the industry, but it does take a lot more time than something of a bigger scale or a medium sized scale would. And I know that's obviously just a case of it's just small and there's nothing I can do. It is just that small. So obviously I'm not blaming the ship for being small. It's just a case of obviously it is a starter ship, so it is obviously going to be a case of well, can you use it for good cargo hauling, and its main role is cargo hauling? Yes. Do I think that it's user friendly? Absolutely. This is probably one of the ships that I would recommend getting into cargo hauling. Obviously, there's others that are relatively similar, or maybe a tiny bit more expensive, but they might be more worth it. So overall, I think I'm gonna put the Hull A in B tier because it's decent. It's a decent starter ship to get you into the game of cargo hauling or cargo trading, depending on what you want to do. So yeah, it's a good transport ship for like cargo and everything. So I'm gonna stick it in here because it isn't the best at making money. It obviously isn't the biggest. I'm not gonna just stick the biggest ships in here, by the way, because there is some of the biggest ships that would probably be down here, if I'm gonna be honest. So keep that in mind. I'm basing it off its cargo hauling ability and its space and things like that as well. Now, the Caterpillar. Let's talk about the Caterpillar. Yes, it's had multiple different refurbishments to try and make it better. I think someone actually commented on one of my videos saying that this thing needs a full redesign. And I would agree. This thing needs a full redesign because the catwalk gets in your way, it cannot fit 32 SCU boxes, and it's just a bloody nightmare sometimes because, well, the catwalk, like, literally gets in your way. It's so frustrating. And as well as that, there's like no room to walk into those bays other than the catwalk, and I just think it needs to be a bit bigger than what it is for what it's trying to do. It needs the same kind of look. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the look of the caterpillar. I actually like the caterpillar a lot. The only problem is it's catwalk, and the boxes that it wants to fit in it can't fit in it, and if it does, it's just crammed to hell, and it's annoying to get out of. So, yes, it's a good cargo hauling ship overall, but I think I'm gonna have to put it in C tier for now, because it's so frustrating to use. Because sometimes if you like, obviously if you're using smaller boxes, it's fine, and obviously you can open the doors and things like that. That's fine, but bigger boxes sometimes just become a bit of a pain in the ass to like move and shift around. I remember trying to do the Stanton missions where you had to go and like find the broken ships and take the cargo out of them and stuff. They just, or you would kill a ship when bounty missions had them. You would kill the ship and they were just so awkward. Like they'd get stuck on things, and then when I've used it before in the past, when I've bought it to go and fly and use it for cargo hauling, it's just been a pain. It's just been an unnecessary pain. So I think it needs a little bit of a redesign. That's why it's going so low. Now the MSR, the Mercury Star Runner. This ship is a data running ship and a medium freight ship. No, a medium cargo ship. Sorry, not a medium freight. So, in my opinion, I think it has 120 something SEU of storage, so it's quite a large one up there. The only problem I think with it, obviously, is how heavy it is. I'm from my experience flying this. This was a little while ago though, so someone please correct me if I'm wrong, and obviously feel free to have your say in the comments at what you think should go where. Obviously, don't attack me for my opinion. It's my opinion, but tell me your opinion. I'd love to hear it, and obviously, I'd love to hear reason why. So let me know. But yeah, the MSR, I remember being quite bulky. That was just my opinion on it though. At the time, I don't know if things have changed. I don't know if it's became more maneuverable. But as of right now, I'm gonna stick it in the same spot, because it's a smaller cargo ship, so obviously it has less, and it has another role that it should be focusing on, and obviously carrying cargo for that role, I believe. So obviously it isn't in the game yet, I know that, but people use it as a cargo ship. But should it be a cargo ship, like for hauling A to B? Yes and no, but because it's so damn heavy and doesn't carry as much as this, like this kind of level, to make a lot of money, things like that, and it's quite like, again, it's kind of like just above entry level because of the scale of it. So yeah, I'm gonna put it down here, based on its cost as well. The fact that it costs more because it's a data running ship from Crusader, so you're paying extra for something that one you're not using if you're going to use it as a cargo ship, and there's other options out there that would be superior in cargo hauling to it. So that's my reason on it, by the way. So yeah, so the Golem OX, which is 64 SEU, not bad, not bad at all. It's actually a really decent cargo ship. I actually really like it a lot. I completely forgot that this existed until I was looking for these ships today to fit them in here. But now that I remember, yeah, like using it, because I used it once when it came out, and then once again later on to move some stuff, and it's just quite handy to have around. But as well as that, obviously, if you were to be new and have bought it, it is a decent little cargo ship to have for 64 SEU. I believe it's relatively cheap as well in game. So it's not bad. So I'm gonna actually stick this in B, because it's on the same level as the whole A. It's just a case of what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a case of it's a different brand. That's what I was gonna say. It's literally the same kind of ship. It's just obviously this is Misk, this is Drake. Pick the one you like, go for that. Now the Asgard, the Anvil Asgard. This is by far one of my favorite ships in the game, but I'm not gonna be opinionated on the fact that it's one of my favorite ships. It's just going to be a case of, is it worthy of cargo hauling? Is it a good cargo hauler, or is it bad? Yes, it's a good cargo hauler. Yes, it's a dedicated dropship, but obviously it has its cargo grid of 180 SEU, which is really good. Now, going to this, on the topic of this, do I think it's going to top the list? No. Do I think it is a decent, like, cargo ship, as well as other roles? Yes. But it costs a lot of money, in-game and outside the game. So, is it worth it? No. Because, yes, if you've bought it with real money because you've had extra money to do so, sure, you've got the shipping game, whatever, it can go up here. That's great. Whatever you want. But if you have 12 or so million to buy this ship, I believe that's how much it costs. It's something like 12 million, isn't it? Oh my goodness, I am blown away. I just looked it up. It is 17 million. Wow, okay, so 17 million for the Asgard. That's insane. So I'm going to put it in C tier because it's way out of budget. But if I'm going to be honest, yes, it's a good cargo hauler. But for value for money, for the role of cargo hauling, it isn't that great. Like, you only get 180 SEU when you can invest in a better cargo hauler. Maybe it's like the Ironclad, the C2, the Hull C, that sort of thing. Instead of spending your money on, an Asgard, save up and buy the Hull C. Save up and buy the Hull B when it comes out in game. Buy the Katak Railin. Buy the whole the Hercules, the C2. Buy the Karak. Like, there's loads of different things that have better capabilities than the Asgard, and they come with more cargo space and so on. I will also add, I will actually, you know what, I will put it in B, because I'll give it the benefit of the doubt that it is a good cargo hauler, it's fast, it's got VTOL, which I really like, by the way. I'm not going to give that points, by the way, but it's going to be, it'll stay down here. If I add more ships to B, it's right at the bottom, very just scraping into the B tier, right? So please bear in mind that it's pretty much the top of C, very low B, right? The Cutlass Black. Now, for this ship being in game, and obviously as a starter ship as well, which it is, it's on the starter ship page, this is actually really good. I'm going to give it an A. It's not an S tier because obviously it doesn't have a lot of cargo space, and it isn't dedicated to cargo hauling or anything like that. It obviously has the ability to do cargo hauling, and I'm not knocking off points for just having the ability to do it because that's unfair. Same with the rest of them. But my point is that this is more of a cargo fighter and everything, like not cargo fighter, just a fighter, than anything. And obviously it's supposed to get you to A to B and things like that, but it doesn't have a lot of room. But to get you into the game at such an early stage, to allow you to do so many other things at the same time as cargo hauling, but even when it's not a dedicated cargo hauler, this is great. I would obviously recommend people use this if they're wanting to do different things other than cargo hauling. That's why I've put it so highly. Because it's a cheaper ship, it's on the cheaper level, but as well as that, it means that you have more open doors. But as well as that, you can do cargo hauling. You're not just stuck to, oh, I need to do mining today, like things like that. So, like, obviously, there's a lot more open doors than just, boom, you're doing this, you're doing that. You can do cargo hauling. Sometimes you don't want to. Do what you want. Now, again, the Drake Corsair here. So we have about 72 SEU, I believe, in the bag. I think it's something like 72. It's not that much. So again, this is going to be one of them ships that is down here, around this area. Is it a dedicated cargo hauler? No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah, so I just honestly believe that this thing needs to be down here with the MSR because it's actually got less space than the MSR. Um, it is it is fast. I will give it that, but it's slow. And as well as that, it costs quite a bit of money. It's around the same price as the MSR, but with less cargo space. I believe that's obviously right. I'm not 100%. Someone fact check me on the price of that. I'm not gonna go look because I can't be bothered. But yeah, it's decent. The Clipper, the Clipper is I can't remember how much in game, but it's about $150 on the pledge store. So it only has 12 SEU of cargo space. So unless you were using the Clipper as a starter ship, it's not going to be in anywhere near the B, A, and S tier. For 12 SEU of space, it's not that great. And I know it's a small ship, but obviously its main role isn't cargo hauling. It just has. I know some people use it for small like transport missions, like really small ones, like they have a couple of boxes, like trading, and things like chuck a couple of boxes in, or maybe they might find a couple of boxes lying about and they'll chuck them in there. I'm just gonna put it in D because it has so many other roles, and yes, it has the ability to carry the boxes and stuff, but I just believe that there's so many better things you can do with the Clipper than use it as a cargo hauler. That's just my opinion. Again, sorry to anybody who might have hurt the feelings, but again, I'm just gonna quickly do this. I'll do this right now. The Intrepid's gonna go in the same bracket because even though it is a hauler, it's very early stages and it only has 8 SEU. So for this being entry level to cargo hauling, it's very weak for like having only like that many SEU. For what it is, anyways. I would have thought it would have had more. I don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the ship because I do like the Intrepid a lot. It's just a case of for like being advertised as like a hauler kind of thing or like an entry level like cargo ship. In like theory, like and a starter ship. Because it's I can't remember where like I've seen it. I think it's on the I don't know if it's on the pledge store or not. But I don't know if they've changed it, but it used to have it on the pledge store that it was a hauler, as well as like a light fighter, and you know a portable home. But again, I don't see the image for cargo hauling really. Um, that's more of a job for like something like the Nomad. Like that makes more sense. Right. So the Ironclad. The Ironclad has had its raise of issues. It has seen hell and back. But now that it's been fixed, I did test this today. My friend has an Ironclad. I did test this today. And on the hotfix, when the hotfix dropped, it works. It actually finally works and has very little issues. There's obviously still going to be issues here and there, but like the apparently the suffocating stopped, or it did in my like the one that we were in. The 1,000 times atmosphere pressures, that sort of thing, all sorted, and the detection command module, that's fixed. So good. It's seen hell and back, and it survived. So this thing has 2,200 SEU, and obviously it's little brother, or sorry, I say little brother. It's like cousin, pretty much. The Ironclad Assault. I'm gonna put these in the same bracket because yes, they can carry cargo, and they both do the same thing, but obviously one has a slightly different role. But as a cargo hauler, is it good? Is it heavy? Is it tanky? And yes, it might be slow. Not really. I mean, it's actually quite fast for what it is. Like, I was expecting this thing to be like, you know, a snail, but it's actually pretty decent. So I'm going to put this in S tier. We got our first S tier. It's a fantastic ship. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to be expensive. It is expensive. But it absolutely nails its job at what it needs to do. And it's dedicated to the role. Its whole role is to do that. And obviously, as well as that, like obviously you can do other things with the Ironclad Assault and the Ironclad. you don't need to just have them as cargo hauling ships, and I think that's why I'm rating them so highly, because you have the extra room to use them for other things. Um, like I have in the one that we were using, we had the fabricator in the back. Like we pulled one on because we had the normal ironclad, not the assault. And we pulled one out from like the cargo elevator, put it in the back, pulled in a couple of vehicles, and filled the rest up with cargo, and then put a prospector in it as well. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty that you can do with the ironclad assault, and the ironclad. So it's very, very good, and that's why I'm rating it so highly. Now the Avenger Titan. This ship is obviously a starter ship. It doesn't have that much cargo space, and it isn't a dedicated cargo hauler. But still, I'm gonna put it in like here. I'm gonna put it in here for what it costs for you to do some small cargo missions with this. It's actually not that bad. It's not as bad as like the Raylan, not the Raylan, the Intrepid and the Clipper. Sorry, I don't know why I said the Raylan, but these two, because this has a tiny bit more, but it's supposed to be a fighter, but it has the room and space to give you the option to do cargo hauling. So it still has 8 SEU, which is obviously the same as this, but it's cheaper. That's the whole point. Like, I'm trying to... And its main role is a fighter. That's the point. Like, it still has the capability to do this, but at the same time, I'm now thinking, like, do I just put it down here? Because it's not like an amazing cargo hauler. It gets you into the thing, but I'm basing it on like money wise, things like that. Like, is it good? Does it make you money? Things like that. It's gonna go very, very high D. So I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm gonna also move the Intrepid up as well, so that the Clippers last, because it's more expensive because it's a generalist ship, and you're probably going to use the cargo space for the fabricator and things like that rather than hauling, really, in realistic terms. These, you're more likely to use it to transport your cargo from A to B. That's why I'm saying the Clipper is the last thing here. Just purely because of that. It makes sense. Now, we have... I'm going to do the Zeuses at the same time because they're fairly similar. Now, this is the CL and then the ES. So the CL has the ability to main cargo hauling. It has 175 SEU of cargo. Hold on. So the ES, here, the blue one, this one is a dedicated cargo hauling ship with a tractor beam. So it's really good. And it has 128 SEU instead of 170, like I said. So that's my bad. I did just have to check that because I don't remember where I read what ship has 170, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna put this one in A with the Cutlass Black because it's cheaper. It's not the cheapest in the world, but its main kind of role and has the things to allow you to cargo haul, and I really like it. I think it's great. And I think it's actually user friendly. Like, it's actually a fairly simple ship. It has a little area where you can sit. It has an area where you can make food and store things. And obviously it has like its suit lockers and whatever else as well. It has multiple exit points. I can just keep going. It's a really good starter ship. Like, I say starter ship, like somewhat like just above entry level cargo hauling ship. And then the CL here, I'm going to have to put down here. Probably around here, because it has 32 SEU of space, which I didn't know actually. But it's not made to be a cargo hauler. It's an exploration ship. So it removes a whole lot of the SEU storage that's in here for more exploration vibe ship. So that's why I'm putting it down there, because it basically, it shouldn't be there. I'm not gonna lie. I think again, you would probably use that storage for maybe like a fabricator and a vehicle rather than hauling. If not fabricator, just a vehicle in general, that sort of thing. So I don't see the vision of it being a good cargo hauling ship. That's why I put it so low. Now the raft is going straight in S tier. This thing is brilliant. Now this thing has 192 SCU of cargo space. Now that might not seem like a lot, but the fun thing about this is you can rent this. Same with the Cutlass Black and things, but you can rent this. So you don't even need to buy it outright. You can actually rent the raft outright, just there and then, and use it for your cargo hauling to save up for the raft to then buy it. Do you see what I mean? So this is why it's goated, in my opinion. It's a really brilliant, like small, like medium level kind of cargo hauling ship. So you get in there. You don't have the biggest ship in the game yet for cargo hauling. You're not quite there. You need to get like up again so you can get to like the Hull B kind of level. So you have like 500 SEU, but then you also want to go for the Hull C, that sort of level, like that sort of thing. So you're just on your way up. And this is a really good place to start. Like, no matter what, like, even if you have, like, very little money, rent it. Go and do cargo hauling missions. By the time you're done for the day, you'll have made your money back from the rent, and you'll have extra money in your pocket for the raft, or for another ship that you want to buy. That's why it's so good. It's a brilliant ship. Now, the Nomad. The Nomad is fairly decent. It's got about 32 SEU of cargo on the back. I tell another lie. It's 24. Yeah, so it's 24 SEU of cargo. So it's a little bit worse than obviously the Zeus ES for cargo space, but because it's kind of roll, it has a tractor beam, that sort of thing. I'm going to rate it a little bit higher. So I'm going to put it in C tier. Now, it has all of its abilities for, like, the tractor beam. It has, obviously, a dedicated area for cargo. But it's very, very dedicated to a small amount of boxes. You kind of have, like, 32 SEU containers. You kind of have big boxes. They've got to kind of be small boxes. Otherwise, they generally tend not to fit. So it's kind of unfortunate. But, anyways, I think I'm going to put it here because it's obviously it's a starter ship, so you're going to have this. But do I think that it's like the greatest and you should keep using it? No. If you save up and you obviously maybe then buy a raft from rent and then save up and buy some other starter ship or something like that for cargo hauling or another cargo hauling ship in general, then yeah, do that. Now, the C1 Spirit. This has 64 SEU of space. It's very fast. It's a really nice ship. And the only downside to it is the Crusader double doors. the doors that lock behind you and stuff. But yeah, I don't mind it at all, actually. I actually really like this. I actually have bought one of these in game recently. And I do fly it every now and then, and obviously I don't use it as a dedicated cargo hauler, so I cannot say it's absolutely what it needs to do. But it is what it does. That is what it does. It's a hauler. So because it's got that roll, and it's kind of like a step up from like something like the Nomad, that sort of thing on your way up, it is a little bit more pricey. But again, it is what it is. Ships are going to get more pricey the way they go up. So I'm going to put this around here, around this area in B, because it's on the same level as these. The only thing I will say is that it's obviously a bit more pricey, but it is a really nice ship to have. And obviously, you can do other things with it too, which is why I'm rating it so highly, because you aren't just stuck doing cargo hauling, whereas these you are. Now, I'm not knocking off points for these, because obviously that is their role, that is what they do. But obviously, you can fly around and do other things with them, but it just means you cannot maybe do bounty missions, things like that. Whereas the C2, you probably can, really, but they'd probably be like really like low risk targets. But yeah. Now moving on to the Karak. The Karak has about 600 give or take SEU. I'm not gonna look up the exact number. I believe it's somewhere around 600. However, it's a fairly big ship, and it is quite expensive. I will just say that it's very expensive because it is an exploration ship. You're probably going to be using that cargo space for crafting and drones and stuff like that when they come out, that sort of thing. But you could obviously use one space in the cargo hall and sections underneath for that, and then have the rest of them as cargo haulers. Like cargo space, sorry, for cargo hauling. So it's a good cargo hauling ship. I'm not gonna lie. The only thing it's in the way is its weird shaped doors and things like that, and obviously the room that it's in. It kind of makes it a little bit frustrating to get it out. So I am gonna put it a little bit lower than it should be, but I'm not gonna take it away from the fact that yes, it's because it's expensive, it has the ability to do cargo hauling. I'm not taking that away from it, like, at all. So I am gonna stick it in. Sorry, no. I'm gonna stick it in high B to A. And the reason why is because it's more expensive. That is the big thing. There is other ships out there that have the same for less. That's just my opinion on it. I obviously think that if you go on cargo hauling, you're just going to need to forget about the fact that, oh, this ship looks pretty. You can go and buy the Hull B, the C2, same kind of pricing sort of thing, but for maybe it's a little bit more or a little bit less cargo, but it's easier to access, that sort of thing. And that's just my opinion on it. I think that's great and it works. Alright, so talking about the C2. The C2. This thing has nearly 700 SEU of cargo. The only thing I will say about it is the roof. The roof is annoying. That's on the interior, so the roof's annoying, but other than that, it smashes its role as a cargo hauler and kind of like a transport ship. It does a brilliant job of it. I'm not complaining, because I've used it like as a cargo hauler the whole time I've been playing the game and since it came out. So I've really enjoyed the C2, and I think it's a brilliant choice to pick. If you're going to go and buy a cargo hauling ship for that kind of range, this is a really good pick. It's on the kind of same level as the Raylan, and a little bit more than obviously the Hull B, but still, this is a really good pick, and I would recommend it highly, like really highly. So in that case, I am going to stick it at the top of A tier, because it has its problems. It is heavy, it is a bit bulky, and it is expensive. That's why it's not S tier. I know obviously I've put the Ironclad, but the Ironclad it's its role for one, but it does it really well. That's the point. That's why I've put it so highly, as because it has the top door on the top, and it has the ramp at the front, along with tractor beams, everything like that, and all the different room, and you can use it for other things too. That's why it's so highly rated in my opinion. The MPUV, the cargo version. I know that this can haul about 16 SEU, and obviously with the tractor beam pull another box. But I don't really know what people use this for. I don't think anybody really uses this at the minute. So, I don't even think it uses quantum travel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear this doesn't use quantum travel. So, for cargo hauling, it's gonna be D, around the Clipper, right? But for cargo movement, so moving from A to B around a small area, maybe from like ship to ship or something like that, brilliant, cool ship, right? Makes sense. But for the role of cargo hauling, no, not at all. Alright, so next up on the list we have the 890 Jump. Now, this thing can be used as a cargo hauler, as well as actually a ship and vehicle transporter. But realistically, do you need a massive ship like the 890 jumped cargo hull. Not really. I'm gonna put it. Yes, it does have a lot of cargo room. I believe it's about 300 to 400, but I don't know. I don't really see the need. The only thing I can really like see is like if someone was to maybe use it for, again, fabrication, that sort of thing. But even then, it's just a case of you probably wouldn't even use all of that. And if you were, it would probably be for like luxury vehicles, um, like a luxury ship inside of the front hangar, and then obviously as well as that, maybe it's like food, medical supplies, ship supplies, things like that for like the refuel and repair kind of aspect that they're going for now. So I think that's where it kind of stands as of right now. So I'm gonna have to put it in like low C to D. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good, but it just, as of right now, there's not really any need to use it for cargo hauling. And obviously, it's just a bit bulky. It's just a bit long to bring around with you everywhere. It's a little bit slow, to be all honest with you. And there's better alternative options. And let's not forget, it's the most expensive in the ship in the game right now. So there is that too. Now the hull B. So this is the next ship up on the list, like above the hull A from the whole series. So it's got about, I think it's like 500 and something SCU of cargo, 540, something around there. So it's really good actually. I actually really like this. For its cost and everything. I'm not sure what it costs in game, if it even is out in game yet because it's so new. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to put this along. No, I'm gonna put this in S tier because I'll tell you for why. So yes, the C2 is a brilliant ship for cargo hauling. The only thing that I like about the MISC hull B and the hull C better is the cargo grids on the outside. So you have a lot more room to fiddle about with, and you don't have to like be messing around with like the ceiling limits and having boxes not fit in like certain places and stuff. You can actually fit them, like, because you can fit them on the outside and everything, which is great. Now the Freelancer Max. Now this thing is obviously a dedicated cargo hauler. It's pretty entry level really. I mean, it is expensive. It has a decent amount of cargo space. And obviously, I think this is obviously, I believe it's got a turret on the back and some turrets on the front as well. So it means it can defend itself in combat situations too, which is nice. But yeah, I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna be honest. I think the top of B tier because it houses quite a lot of cargo. It is a bit expensive, but at the same time, it's a good little like stepping stone. However, I know obviously the raft still beats it, but obviously if you wanted to go a different path, obviously I think the Freelancer Max is a really good ship for that stepping stone. And the same with the Freelancer. I will just actually put this in as well. It has a little bit less, so I'm going to put it down the bottom here, the bottom of B. But it's still a really good stepping stone for your cargo hauling journey. Maybe if you wanted to go through MISC and you want a bit extra cargo space for instead of the whole A, obviously these two could be a stepping stone up to the whole B, and then obviously once you get the whole B, you can save up for the whole C. But yeah, in my opinion, brilliant ships. Honestly, fantastic. I've never really had a problem with the Freelancers other than getting stuck in the beds. Other than getting stuck in the beds, there's not really anything else wrong with them. I actually think they're really good, and quite fast as well. So I'm not rating them like absolutely like top of the list, but still. Again, I'm gonna move the Asgard down here because it's so expensive. For it not being like a dedicated cargo hauler, so I'm gonna put that at the end. I forgot about that list, that rule that I've made. For how much SEU there is. I know this is obviously expensive, but you get like 180, whereas this is like 600. So this is more worth the money than this is. Now, the Gattack Raylan has literally just came out the other day. I did tour the ships, so obviously make sure you go check that out. I've toured all these ships, by the way, or majority of them through so far. I still need to do some of them, but obviously, the Raylan I toured like literally about a week ago. So, but yeah, it was a really good looking ship. The new cargo grid at the back looks fantastic, and I've used it once or twice, and it is great. It is literally on the same level as about the whole C, the whole B kind of level. It has 640 SEU, so that's really good. So I'm going to rate this higher than the whole B, actually. Because not only is this thing really fast, one, it has the outer grids and holds a little bit more than the whole B. As far as price goes, I know it's a bit more expensive than the whole B in real money, so I don't know how much this is going to cost in game. So this is just my rating based on what I've seen, and the fact that this thing has 2 tractor beams on its like back legs when they fold down. Like, that's great, and they're accessible in the same cockpit. So like, I know obviously the co-pilot in the whole B has a tractor beam, but still, I just think it's fantastic that there's 2 tractor beams that you can access right there, and you can either get your friend to do it, or you can both sit in the seats, or you can just do it yourself. And it's a lot easier than having to go in and out of places to do things. You can just kind of sit in your seat and do it, and it makes life a whole lot easier. It's a very, very efficient ship, is all I'm saying. And that's why it's rated so highly on this list. Because I know a lot of people would disagree, probably, as far as I'm aware. Because some people said that they, from what I've heard, some people aren't like a fan of attack ships really, but I really like the Sulan and the Raylan. Like, I've grown on the Sulan. The Sulan's grown on me. But the Raylan I've been waiting for years, because it looks so cool, and I really like the look of it. So I'm really happy that I've got to use this, and it works, and it's really good. The Starfarer and the Starfarer Gemini. Now this is obviously a refueling ship, but it does have the SEU storage to house cargo. But in my opinion, it isn't really worth carrying the cargo in this because it is really, really heavy. It's a really heavy ship. The only thing I would really say about carrying this is you'd probably want to carry, I don't really know what you would want to carry in this, but I don't think it would be very good for cargo hauling, because the door, where the door is and everything, and the ramp is in like quite a little bit of annoying space, because you can sometimes hit the stuff up above, like the catwalk and everything. So it is a bit annoying, and it is really expensive, and it isn't its main kind of role. It's a refueling ship. So at the minute, I'm going to stick it down at the bottom of here. Even though it does have the SEU storage and everything, it's just a really annoying kind of ship to get into and everything. And its main role is kind of just refueling, and I don't think CIG expect you to use as a cargo hauling ship. You're supposed to use it for refueling, and maybe it's keeping vehicles or something in. I don't really know. I think obviously there's more to come with refueling. That's why we haven't really got any kind of real reason yet to fill it up with SEU storage, but it seems more like a vehicle garage than a cargo grid, but it is a cargo grid. Now the Hermes, it's the Apollo, but a different model so it's cargo hauling kind of module from RSI. No, I don't really mind the Hermes. It's just a case of it just kind of feels copy and pasted, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Just my opinion. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it just feels kind of copy and pasted from the Apollo. But the big but is it can carry a lot of cargo, which is a good thing. Now, it costs 7.1-ish million in game. I think it's about that. You can buy it in Nix, and for it being 7 million for 288 SEU, I don't really know, because I mean, it's kind of like in here, really. In this area, for 7 million, you'd be better off buying a raft first and using your raft as your main source of income and then moving to the Hermes, if that makes sense. If you were to do that and then move up to something like the Holbein, the Raylan, or the Ironclad once you'd saved up a lot of money. But I'm going to put it a bit higher than the Zeus because the Zeus does cost a lot of money. It's about 6 million, by the way. If I'm not mistaken, I swear it is about 6 million for this model of the Zeus. And then obviously this is like 7.1. So obviously it kind of makes sense for them to be here because they do run cargo. That's the whole point. It's just a case of obviously they're expensive. So that's why they're like high up, but like kind of pushed down further than I would have maybe put them if they were cheaper. Now the here comes the big boy ship, the Polaris. Now I did have plans to put the Idris on this ship, but I think people would absolutely swap me in the comments for using the Idris as a cargo ship. So I'm not putting it in, but if it was a cargo ship and obviously wasn't probably over $1 billion to buy, it would be S tier. No, I'm kidding. So the Polaris, again, it can store 576 SCU of cargo. It has a top hangar, lower hangar for cars or SCU, like kind of carrying things. However, yes, it can be used as a cargo ship. Yes, it's expensive. However, you wouldn't want to use this as a cargo ship. And I'll tell you for why. Because if you actually want to use this optimally, you're going to need RMC for your repairs. You're going to need ship ammo for your ammo. You're going to need fuel for your fuel to refuel. And anything else that you can think of off the top of your head is all going to need to fit in that cargo grid downstairs. All of it. Torpedoes, if you buy extra torpedoes to fit in, med gel, all of it needs to go on a cargo grid and be stored somewhere. Like, there is so much stuff in that ship that needs to be on that cargo grid rather than cargo. It's insane. Like, I think a lot of people would much rather not use this as a cargo ship and use this as a mobile base, which would require them to then use ammo, RMC, things like that, to then put it in. So I'm going to put it, based on my opinion, the fact that you can use it as a thing, but it's expensive. It's around the same price as the 890, so I'm going to put it there. Yes, you can use these realistically as a cargo ship. Yes, I'm aware. But why would you? When you could use them optimally another way. And obviously, as well as that, I will just say this. The Polaris's cargo hanger on the bottom is a pain in my arse. It sucks to fit cargo in there sometimes when it's big boxes. And even some small boxes. It's a pain in my backside. Don't use it. The Starlancer Max. I love this ship. Now, I swear a lot of people like this ship as well. They love MISC ships. And I'm going to rate this highly. I know it's expensive, but it is a really fantastic little starter ship. And obviously it gives you the capabilities to do other things as well. You don't just have to do cargo hauling, but it does have the room for a vehicle in the back. It has the area for cargo. It has all of your, armory, that sort of stuff. So, it is a really, really great pick. For if you want to do not just cargo hauling, but like a bunch of other things as well. So yeah, I'm gonna probably rate the Starlancer Max quite highly here. Just trying to think where. Just so you're aware, it's 224 SCU of cargo, along with the price of 8.1 million. So I think I'm gonna stick this here. No, I'm going to stick it high B, because yes, it doesn't have as much cargo as this, but it's cheaper for one. That's one thing. Two, It has 220 SEU, but allows you to do other things, which is nice. It's always a nice option. But it is just a nice ship to fly, and I feel like it's very sort of user friendly. So if someone was like kind of new to the game, they'd be like, "Oh, I like this ship," and would kind of pick that kind of ship. If you know what I mean? I know obviously like the Hermes is quite nice as well, and the Zeus and all of these other ships that I mentioned, but I'm rating this one quite highly because, like a lot of people who I've like shown this ship to who haven't seen it before have been like, "Oh yeah, this is really nice. Like I would use this." Um, I know obviously some people have their opinions and been like, "Yeah, no, don't like the Star Lancers, don't like anything like that, don't like Misk," which is completely fine. I'm not like 100% a Misk fan, but I like their cargo ships. The cargo ships are very good. The only thing I can actually really do, now that I think about it, is kind of shuffle this one down to about here. So it's still in B, it's just a case of, because it's quite big, and obviously less SEU than this, it means that obviously, it's these stand a fair chance instead of just being like, BOOM! There we go. Like, you know what I mean? So, I'm kind of trying to make it as fair as possible. Obviously, people might judge me for my selections, that's fine. But, in my opinion, these are the ones that I would put quite highly if I was going cargo hauling, rather than anything else. Right, so I just want to quickly say this about this rule here. The constellation that I've got here, this is, I don't remember which one this is, but essentially this was just supposed to be a picture of the Andromeda and the Taurus in one, and I'm gonna rate them the same because they carry not the same, because I know the Taurus has more room but less missiles because it sacrifices that thing to make it longer to fit more SEU room. But I'm basically gonna fit them in the same bracket because they are the same ship variant, just one's a little bit longer. They do have similar guns, similar missiles. They have the same missiles but less, but one has less, one has more, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to rate them the same, because I do recommend them. I would recommend them to anybody. So they're really good starter cargo hauling ships, as well as that if you want to do bounty missions and things like that. And you can rent them if I'm remember correctly. If they haven't removed them, you can still rent these. So they're really good to rent. Now, where am I going to stick these? Well, because you can rent them, that's going to boost my points up higher than some of the others. But because obviously they've got less SEU room than some of them, and they are a bit pricey in game, it would have been an A tier. Obviously, just on the cargo hauling scale. If you're talking like a ship in general, like rating for a ship, this thing's an S tier because they're brilliant, like fantastic multi-role ships, 100%. But for cargo hauling only, it's a high B to low A. That's my opinion. Both of them, the Taurus and the Andromeda. That's my opinion. The other two ships aren't dedicated to cargo hauling and they kind of lack a little bit of room. That's why I haven't put them here. So that's why they're not in this list. Obviously, if you guys want to see them, let me know and I'll do a list on them. But yeah, that's the reason why. Now, before we get to the big boy, I am just going to quickly say this. We're going to do the Perseus first. So the Perseus is, again, a kind of capital ship killer. This thing is an absolute beast. But it has about 150 SEU of space, cargo space. Now, would you use that for cargo? No. It's the same story as the Polaris. I wouldn't use this for cargo running at all. I know people do. That's why it's in here. And obviously people are going to for forevermore. However, in my opinion, I just think that it just doesn't need to go any higher than here, really. Actually, you know what? I'll give it this spot. But at the same time, even though you can buy this in game and it's a bit cheaper than maybe what these would cost, just because I've put it a little bit higher doesn't mean that you should use it. That's just my opinion. If you're going to use it, But again, you need it for like RMC or recycled material for your repairs. You need weapon ammo, missiles, torpedoes, things like that. You'd be better off just storing all of that on there rather than carrying a whole thing around. Well, not even RMC, just like torpedoes, missiles, things like that, like weapons, like the whole thing. Like you'd just be better off carrying like a crap ton of torpedoes, maybe some storage boxes to carry some loot around in, stuff like that. But that's about it. I don't really see the vision in carrying cargo in this, other than obviously what it should be used for. Now, finally, we've got to the last ship, the Hull C. Now, I'm going to stick this to the top of the list. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to be completely honest. If I'm going to muddle them around, the Raft goes at number 1 because it's the best thing that you can buy and rent. The Ironclad goes second because it's like kind of the middle ground from Hull C to Ironclad. It's like the Hull C to kind of think of the ship name. There's another ship that isn't out yet that is kind of like in between. But like I think the Ironclad is a really solid pick. It's heavy, it's armored, it's really good for defense. And obviously it means that you're obviously more defended, whereas the Hull C is just basically just a rack of cargo that can be shot and killed. It doesn't have that many defenses on it. It does, but obviously not as many as maybe the Ironclad, and obviously not as much armor. And this thing, yes, it can carry 4,000 SEU of cargo, which is ridiculous, by the way. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic for making a crap ton of money. But again, I just think that this tops it. And then when it comes to the Raylan and the Hull B, they are also really good because they have outside cargo grids and no kind of interior to mess around with you. But yeah, that's going to be my rating for today for the hauling ships ranked. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, this is my final rating. Feel free to, let me know what your opinions are and whether something should be higher or lower than the others. Obviously, this is just my opinion. This is not like an actual, you need to do this sort of thing. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Obviously, if you have, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And check out my Discord down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys joined. It is fairly new, so there isn't that many people. But yeah, I hope I see you there. And I hope you guys join me for the next couple of videos that I'm going to be doing. Or even all my videos. It would be nice to see you. Anyways, take care. And I'll see you guys in the next ones. Bye for now.